home decided to watch some TV, listening to the news like Gordon Mosley. I listening to the things that he say he tracking tonight, paying close attention to make sure I hear it right. Now when I hear the things that he mentioned on the news, I had to declare them kind of thing got me confused. I hear some things where the ERC noticing, and it convinced me that people ain't learning nothing. We hear so many times about them big name calling, and they say ERC pretend that they didn't learn nothing. But once you're black and you just decide to say a word or two, bet your life on that they say ERC coming for you. Listen to the things you just hear on social media. Only one set of people allowed to talk in one Guyana. I still say nothing, black people in learning. But this is my concern. I hope one day black people will learn. ERC that I would like to know, if any of its members happens to be black people. And if that is the case, I want them to answer this call. Tell me how come none of them ain't got no voice at all. You're showing signs of weakness and you're afraid to be fair, and we see the same thing keep happening year after year. And the day will come when all this nonsense will stop. That will be the day when black people decide to wake up. Not so long ago, something terrible happened. This young Indian man want to kill out all black people by poison. But if his shoes was on the other foot, would have been a big threat. But up to this day, this ERC can do nothing as yet. How come it's only black people committing cybercrime? When pretty on social media fussing people all the time, I still say black people in learning. But one day will come when the entire table will turn. Excuse me, see they fail to condemn, because these people think that the law is only for them. And anybody else who decide to file a complaint, they go call you a racist and don't want to hear nothing. Plenty complaint from time to time has been brought to their attention, but because of this one-sided cybercrime is why they don't show any concern. There's only one set of people that they really care about, and black people must take the abuse and shut them out. Kidaki Amsterdam went to court just recently for an issue that was highlighted by the same ERC. And with breakneck speed, the police decide to jump on his case. Without a search warrant, they went and search up the man's place. Let us all agree that black people under attack. Different laws for you and me just because we black. I still singing. Black people in London. To all my black friends, we must put a stop to all this nonsense. Cybercrime laws to keep people silent, just to make sure nobody criticizes government. And while that is a very clear case of dictatorship, it is no surprise that the ERC ignoring it. Why only the chosen few is allowed to have things their way, when people like me and you must have nothing to say? And when ministers in the government start to launch their attack, you never hear this ERC come out and talk about that. They send a policeman all the way to New York. This fella went up there to serve a customer and wait for work. Under this thing, this government decide to fabricate a case, but like they forget the warning they get from Latisha James. The vice president is expected to use as a low life. Because of this kind of abuse, he don't have a wife. I still singing. Black people in learning. Just the other day, I hope your man see help is on the way.
All right, so today we are here at Club Twilight up in Buxton, and we are here to talk about all that's going on up here. Trust me, if you are on the East Coast, you're in Buxton, you're in Tongue, you're looking for a place to get away to, this is the place. The Cutters, mwah. Listen, I'll be having some just now again. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, the ambience is beautiful, fully air conditioned. The decor is on point. The music's on point. Everything's on point. It's just me. I need some work. But everything else that belongs to this club here is on point. So if you want to find a nice little place where you can just drive out of town and have some drinks, have some food, you can call, you can order your stuff and just take it. You don't have to stay. Or if you want to stay here, that's what's up. And of course, they have special events for Valentine's. You can rent a hall. You can rent a hall, honey. You can rent a hall for weddings, for birthday parties, to have a bash. I hope he edits that out. But you know, whatever it is, this is definitely the place to be. So it's on Sideline Dam. You definitely want to ensure that you check this place out. But it's on your to-do list. All right, on your to-do list. This is definitely the place to check out, you know, a really cool, chill spot here in Buxton. I like this. This is Buxton needed this. We needed this. I needed this. You definitely needed too. Thank you. All right, so you might be wondering where we are, still in Buxton at Club Twilight. That's where we are. So Club Twilight also has like an Airbnb as well. So you could come, drink, drunk, and come in the back here and lie down. Look at that. Look at that. Perfection. And the people come in the room and so on. The bed sheet matching the blind, matching the carpet, matching the this, matching the that. We know but we things in Buxton don't play with we. So definitely, if you want to come and you may be having a wedding or whatever, and you just want to overnight and just have a good time because you're gonna be drunk, we got too much road accidents. So you definitely want to come drink, have a good time. They have several rooms that you can rent. You have your toilet, you have your bath, you have your sink, you have your dining area, you have the bed. This is nice. I like it. Anyways, to my friends and my family, if you're looking for me, I'll be overnighting. Also, for those persons who are traveling in from overseas, you want a nice, cozy place out of town, then Club Twilight, call them up, look them up on social media. They have their own Facebook page, and ensure that you come up the side and have a good time. Have a good time. Have a good time. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's it.
APNU, rise Guyana shine. Together we build, now is the time. With Aubrey strong and heart so true, we're rising up. It's me and you. Vote APNU for justice care, for every family everywhere, for jobs, for schools, for brighter days, for youth and elders, better ways. Who you voting for? IPNU. Who gon' lift you more? IPNU. Who gon' care for all? IPNU. Stand up tall and vote. IPNU. APNU, you, go, 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 go. Hey, APNU, you, go, 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 go. APNU, you, go, 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 go. Hey, APNU.
How many bowel movements do you have a day? If the answer is one or less, we need to talk. Everything starts in the gut. Toxins, bloating, constipation, even parasites can build up silently, affecting your mood, your skin, your immune system, and your energy. Ultra Body Cleanse is a simple 15-day system. Morning tablet to flush from the inside. Nighttime tea to detox and reset. People don't realize it, but most problems start in the gut. And when you clean it out, you feel lighter, you look healthier. You finally go. Like you should. Don't wait for symptoms. Ask your artist distributor today how to start your Ultra Body Cleanse.
Buxton, Guyana, it's here again. The Black is Beautiful Cultural Evening this July 31st, Buxton Line Top, featuring Mark Batson, Divine Stars, Brian Chester, Eyes of the Ancestors on the drums, Buxton Fusion, and the indomitable Yoruba singers. Lots of songs, poetry, Nancy story, dance, and lots more cultural entertainment. Come out, Buxton Line Top, this July 31st. It is the annual 1st of August movement and friends. Black is Beautiful evening of cultural entertainment. Calling all seniors, calling all seniors. It's soiree time. Yes, the big people soiree, say August 1st at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Come out, come on, let's feast and well prepared African traditional dishes and be entertained by drumming, folklore, music, and lots more. Admission, it's absolutely free. Come out, let us celebrate our elders. It's the Elders Soiree at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North, August 1st. Come one, come all. Starting time, 12 o'clock, midday. Are you looking for tents to rent? Well, look no further. At EC Party Rentals, Sideline Dam, Buxton North, we have tents in all sizes and colors. All sizes of tents we have. Small tents, big tents, medium tents, extra large tents. Call us on 622-5933. We have what you need. Easy Party Rentals. Big on tents. Are you hosting an event? Do you need ice, party ice in large or small quantities? Then call us at 622-5933 for the best party ice available. $1,000 per bag. We do delivery. EC Crystals, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Call to have your orders filled today. Planning a party? Worry no more. We have all the supplies you need. At EC Party Rentals, we have folding chairs, folding tables, square tables, round tables, long tables, short tables, big tables. We have chairs, red chairs, gold chairs, white chairs, crystal chairs, chairs of all type, throne chairs. What you want, we have. Food warmers, coolers, ice, beverages. At EC Party Rentals, we have what you need to have a good time. You plan the party, we do the work. Call us 622-5933. Easy Party Rentals. Let's keep your party going.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T and W Harris Butcher Shop located in the East Rheinveld Market Meat section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T and W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more.
But this weekend was extreme. Oh yeah, yesterday was last night. Oh yeah, Saturday night and so. What y'all did for the weekend? Were you able to make those extras? Have you utilized your special talents? How close are you to achieving those set goals, those smart goals that you've set? Remember, I said they gotta be short term, medium term, long term. Some of you should be around medium now, right? What's happening? Y'all talk to me. How y'all coming up? How things coming? Kim Walker says she think I make work. Trust me, I believe I make work, right? And I also believe I got some people who believe I make work. Because by the time I say I'm going to chillax a little bit, somebody calling me, Mr. Amsterdam, come move his bucket for me now. Mr. Amsterdam, I stumped me too. Come dig out this root for me now. Oh, Lord. And I think I got weakness. I can't say no, or I don't like say no. Right? I don't like to say no. But I can say no. If I think you're overdoing it, then there will come a point when I say no. And if I start telling you no, trust me, it's no every time you ask. Right? Every time you ask, you go me no. So don't let me start telling you no. Like they got some banners as soon as I see them, I me no button this turn. Bam, brother, good morning. Yeah, 100 day. No. Brother, morning, I got something I can eat. Yeah, I got something you can get it. Brother, get buy 1,000. No. Why? I think you know why. Because a lot of these dudes come to me for my money to go and smoke. I don't smoke. I don't drink liquor. So I can give me money for smoke and drink liquor. Especially if I see it is harming you. They got some real addicts out there, you know. And since they shape up, no, not my money. I gotta give you food. Good. So yes, I could say no. I could say no. In the morning, I am on my bridge, I working my tail off. Early in the morning, I get up walking early. I'm not passing. Morning, bro. Morning, what are you? I got morning. You working here, man? Buddy, you can give me 200? No. Why? You see me walking my ass off. You can ask me for one little assistance. You could ask about no money. But listen, sometimes you just got developing no spirit. But generally, I think I am too lenient, too willing. Let me say that. Good. But you have to be able to assess the situation. You know, it's life, it's humankind. Just as you have to be able to assess the situation in every aspect of your life. And I'm asking you, how those projects and plans are coming along? How do you see the coalition political campaign coming along. I want you to talk to me about that this morning. Do you have some recommendations to the coalition? I will open up the lines so you can tell us that. And I think I will open up the lines early so you can tell us that. Because listen, I don't want us to be doing and doing and doing and doing. I think we're doing what needs to be done. And then out of the blues at the end of all, they're doing somebody said, but y'all didn't do it right. Y'all missed this or y'all missed that. So this morning, I am going to be your conduit. I'm going to be taking your guidance as to what needs to be done and if what is being done currently is being done. Don't find the PPP, man. And when all of them, you know, everybody can have the same idea. It all comes to implementation and monitoring and everything of that nature. Right? It all comes down to that. This morning I woke up and I said, wait, but pound for pound, if you put the APNU list of candidates alongside any of the other political party, the APNU list of candidates is superior to them by miles. By miles. Doctor this, doctor that, doctor the other, professor this, professor that, professor the other. Did I see anybody on the APNU list who doesn't have a first degree? I wonder. I gotta go through the list again. Or I gotta ask Carol Joseph, is there any candidate on the APNU list without a first degree? From a reputable institution, I dare say? Y'all tell me. I wonder, you know. But I know that you have a doctor in this and a doctor in that and a doctor in the other and a doctor in the next. And so every sector of this economy, right? Every sector of this economy under an APNU administration is expected to have, let me call it for I see it, an academic somewhere there who can provide guidance based on his or her course of study and experience. The PPP got specialists though. So I don't think the PPP got specialists. The PPP got specialist rapists. The PPP got specialist child molesters. The PPP got specialist abductors. The PPP got specialist quack doctors. The PPP got specialist thieves. So they got specialists though. But it's the quality of specialists that matters. The quality of specialists that matters. And you see it every day. And sometimes I don't know if my son knows that. But sometimes I like to ride with him because he opens my critical eye sometimes. Things that I didn't know or I didn't pay attention to. Sometimes we ride in and he just say, what? Isn't that the other day they do this road? Why are they breaking it up already? Did you recognize that the stretch of road on the railway embankment that was constructed, I think maybe from UG Road all the way down to Ogle? Not so long ago. Has been dug up again? Yeah, the man broke up the whole thing. Broke up the whole thing. And so we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars there that has already gone into a contractor's pocket. Contractor and friends, like the big old minister. Because no contract is awarded, according to my understanding, without the big old minister getting his cut. And then all the middlemen and women getting their cut. So hundreds of million dollars there gone down the drain for taxpayers. and then by building again. Then by building again. And so even a cursory look at that, you recognize that them band of this thing got no specialists, no technocrat really. To ensure that what they produce is of a high quality and lasting. The PPP has not built a road in this country that I'm confident will last 5 years, much less 25 years or 50 years. So they just got us on this revolving thing. Every 2 mornings, they got to rebuild the same road. The so-called streets that they did in Buxton, the ones that they did with bitumen, you go and watch them. None of them got edge, you know. Some women wear wigs so often and paste on wigs so often that every time they pull it out, they're pulling out the edges. It's so some of them would look. They got no edges. They got no edges. Just as other women that's complain, oh God, my edges gone. They ain't got no edges. And because the road is so narrow, when the edges go, it's half of the road is left. So come through Buxton, for example, and check on those roads that they say they did with bitumen. It's share half road. All the edges gone. That is how we want our taxpayer money to be spent. That is the quality of governance that we want. Because all those who tell themselves that they're going to vote for the PPP, they are voting for, you know. A continuity. You are voting for continuation of this piss-poor governance that we got. This is what I want. Our friend Humi says, Mr. Amsami, wrong. They got specialists in building substandard things so that they would keep repeating it and get more money. Is that what we want? Substandard? We could do better. We could do much, much better. And especially those young people. Especially those young people. Well, when we ain't got no time with the Granger, we ain't got no time with the coalition, because the coalition you do not do it. It's time to give somebody else a chance. We got in blue. Y'all gonna sing the blues after September 1st. Y'all go blue. And you're gonna sing the blues. Because I guarantee you, I am guaranteeing you, the blue can't win the election. And if the blue can't win the election, but they can get some votes, it means the blue is reducing the possibility of removing the PPP from office. And if on the morning of September 2nd, the PPP is still in office, y'all gonna suck salt. Salt y'all gonna suck. The blue might be in parliament, but the blue can't do anything for you by just being in parliament. I say y'all gotta consider this. And I keep telling y'all, consider this. A vote for the blue party is first and foremost a wasted vote. If you're considering the necessity of removing the PPP. And secondly, it is a vote for the PPP because the blue party and the PPP cut from one cloth. They were once batty and poor, as we like to say. They were bedfellows, and still is. Because I'm asking you the question again, do you believe that the leader of the Blue Party and everybody in the PPP are at war with each other now? Certainly not. He might be at war with one or two persons, but not all of them. Not all of them. And so when you don't do your utmost to remove the PPP from office, the possibility is that they will be right there watching you September 2nd. And if they're watching you September 2nd, then they feel emboldened. Yeah, they say, get them an inch, take a yard, get them a yard, they take a mile. They feel emboldened. And if you think they're doing bad now, then imagine when they feel emboldened, what will happen. And all of these hundreds of millions and billions of dollars that are being misspent and misused falls in your shoulder as the next generation, or even as the current generation, because the youth is now. And so let me tell you, in case you didn't know, that money is borrowed by a nation have to be repaid. And those monies are repaid through taxation especially. And the people who are expected to pay taxes so that the government can repay the monies that they borrow and misuse are the citizens. So young people, if you don't get rid of the PPP and they continue wasting this money like this, it's your burden. It is your burden because your taxes will have to repay the money. Don't hurt me, as Mr. Jordan said, I must get a toe in already too. The extended period of time that you will have to, this country will have to be repaying debts. Even if I were to live to make 100 years, can be a short time for me contributing compared to the length of time that we will have to be repaying those debts. Trust me. As a younger generation, are you young people who will have to deal with the repayment of those debts? So if you want joke around with your future and joke around with your freedom, continue clunging yourself around not doing win. You're going to end up with win pain, and a lot of you, when you get win pain, just pass win a lot. You're going to fight for survival in this country. The man is a good man. Ask somebody the other day, a big man, you know, big adult. No, this is not a little boy. This is not a young adult. This is a big man. No. We with the blue, we supporting the blue. Why are you supporting the blue? Because everybody got their chance. We try with Graduate, we try with the PPP. No man do nothing. You got to give everybody a chance. That's the only reason you're supporting the blue. Give me another reason why you support. Don't worry, man. The boss man say you're going to know soon. Soon. And very shortly, you're going to know why you must support the blue. Come on, we got about 38 days, perhaps, the elections. Huh? Today's 28. About 36 days to an election. And a big man telling me, you're going to know soon and very shortly why you must support the blue. Youth man, young girl, don't let them banner pull you into this stupidness. Especially, and get it personal, which is not personal, but kind of personal. Especially the mole heads who didn't achieve nothing in this life. Them old hustlers with debout and trying to eat the bread, and according to what are the past phantom killers, drink milk after the Mohammeds. And in order to get a bread or milk after the Mohammeds, they got to trade you. Be very careful with them. Simon Blackman, you could bet that I'm talking about Dennis Atwell. Definitely, I wasn't talking to Dennis Atwell. Dennis Atwell is furthest on my mind. I can't tell when last I heard nor see Dennis. And I'm not saying this disdainfully. I haven't seen the guy in a while. I haven't heard him in a while. But somebody did mention that he's supporting the blue. But I wasn't speaking of Dennis. And quite frankly, I thought Dennis was more politically aware and even socially aware. And I was quite surprised when somebody told me Dennis is supporting the blue. Because I never saw him as a political grasshopper. Is one time APNU, is one time AFC, is one time the blue. You got no conviction, you can't stick with what you choose. You sound like you get enough marriages throughout this life. Anyhow, so I ain't worrying about that. I'm going back to talking to y'all. A lot of the people who are encouraging these youths, apart from the whole miseducation and misunderstanding that the young people have, a lot of the people who seem to be the example for the youths follow, or the example that the youths are following in the blue, is middle-aged, big people who know much with the time, you know. Them is the real hustlers. And so Mohammed presents a chance for them to hustle. And part of the hustle is slave catching in the African Guyanese community for the Blue Party. And that can be healthy. And so I'm saying to you young people, look around you and identify your slave catchers. When they come to you and tell you about supporting blue, ask them why. Ask them what they got to lose by supporting blue. Compared to what you have to lose by supporting blue. They don't live their life. They don't live a major part of their life. You young, the burdens of this country can fall on your shoulder. And so that they don't set you up to burden you further. Devil get ye behind me. That's what you gotta tell them. Hey, big man, what's wrong with you? Blue, where you come from with that? You've been singing the blues all your life. Look at you. You're walking up for go up in your house on a ladder. Your landlord showing you because you ain't paying rent. Every time I see you got a big giant in your mouth, on the corner, booming somebody, hey, give me 100. Or you could lead me anyway, man. Yeah? This is what I ask them. Recognize the importance of your vote and recognize where it is going to really serve the real purpose of removing the PPP. It can be with the blue. The only political party right now that has and stand a good chance of removing the PPP from office by winning the largest block of vote is the coalition. is the coalition. And so you just simply have to vote for the coalition. The ultimate aim right now is to get rid of the PPP. Even if I would think, even if I were to think that the blue is an alternative, a good alternative to the PPP, the reality is the blue cannot remove the PPP from office now. They can't remove the PPP from office now. They got to come to political maturity, maybe another 5-10 years. So, all right, put them on the head. Hey, we got your mind. We're going to think about you. But right now, it's every shoulder to the wheel to get the PPP out of office. All the votes will go to the coalition. And when we don't get the PPP out of office, we're going to give you the support to keep the coalition on their toes, make them accountable, and we're going to build you in the meantime. So by the time the next election cycle come around, if we got to put flex on the coalition, so be it. If we got to put flex on the coalition, by the time the next election come around, we would have already spent 5 years building you up as the next strong man. But you can't just wake up and buy dreams that in less than 6 months an election, a man could form a political party and win the election. Even witchcraft, obia, sorcery, even that don't work so. This is how I see it. Right? So y'all don't take set up, young people. Don't take set up. Put your vote where they will matter. And they will matter if you put your vote next to the APNU. I'm telling you that. There's so many examples of hustling that I can give you with people around the blue and even people around the red, but I don't like get personal with the politics. I keep it general. Right? I saw a photo the other day. I never looked for the photo. Most of you might have seen the photo, but the headline was Orniselius is saying that from his understanding, and I dare say his experience, no political party comes from 0 to 51%. And Ornis been wrong long. Ornis is one of them old type politicians. He's about long. Well, you know about, are we saying they're in politics about 60 years now? Or 50? How long are you about Ornis? Tell them. So they don't understand what he's saying. Right? Ornis is a political institution like the PNC. Never has it happened in this country to move from 0 to 51%. But back to this photograph. I saw a photograph on a headline. I think it was Newsroom. Vice President met with the APNU defectors. I call it though. Right? According to Newsroom, these, I think it's 3 of them, were heavyweights. They were heavyweights. It appears and they jumped ship and so on, and the Vice President eventually met with them. I said this to them. When I look at that photograph, I see a dog handler, puts in dogs, puts, go and hunt, puts, go and hunt in the communities and bring back prey. You know what I'm saying? Puts, go there, slave catchers, go and catch slaves and bring them. Young people, be very mindful, be very careful of how they approach you. African Guyanese youths especially, look around you and ask yourself if that is what you're worth. I see Melanie Playground, they're now hustling to build a bleacher. They're hustling to build a bleacher, a little concrete hollow block structure. It looked like it got about four tiers up, four treaders up, as we say, 4 steps up. Maybe 15 feet at most. Even if I'm generous, let me give it 20. They're now in the 11th hour trying to construct that, to say they give Melanie youths something at the ball field, having taken away all the zinc fencing and so on. They are in Haslington North doing the same thing. Take down the people 10 and 15 feet zinc and put up 4 feet wire mesh, chain link, and they also need to build another little concrete bleacher to say that they give you something. Is that what you deserve, young people? Is that what you're going to accept? I would hope not. The coalition has plans to do better than that for you. They got sports scholarship, for example. They talk about supporting sportsmen and women monthly, financial and other support. Not waiting until the 11th hour to come and say they're sprucing up a gong for you or they're building a bleacher for you because the elections is on the 12th hour. Ask yourself, is that what you deserve? Don't let these slave catchers come and tell you, Bana, we in it now, you know. We gonna look out for you. We looking out for yourself. We're looking out for beetle and an allegation that we were involved in corruption with hundreds of acres of land. We're looking out to beat all kinds of, for ourselves to beat all kinds of allegations against us. Matters before the court that are not proceeding. Because those are the bargaining chips. You see the same thing that the one from Sheriff was trying with Doggy? That playbook has been used already several times. Among many of them were newsroom now talking about heavyweights, former heavyweights of the PNC. Heavy what? Former heavily corrupted, former heavily selfish. And youth man, young lady, don't let it trap you. If they want to be bottom lickers, let it be bottom lickers alone. Don't let it trade you, slave catchers. Don't let it trade you for their own personal aggrandizement. No, place value on your vote. Francis Rockcliffe is making a very good point there. While they're building a bleacher at Melanie, the advertising access road for enterprise, $51 million. Billion. In fact, $1 billion. $1 billion compared to maybe $1 million. Y'all checked out. That's the kind of comparisons I want our young people to make. What is happening in the other community compared to what is happening in my community? Do I deserve that or do I deserve better? Do I deserve to be treated equally as the youth in the other community or should I be treated less? And I would rather believe you want equality. Avril, if you're not getting some, please restart your device. Because it's not our problem here. Others are hearing us clearly. Me come to have no big convoluted conversation this morning with young people. Simple terms like talking to y'all. I gotta touch a touchy one. This one touchy bad because it's touchy to me too. Yesterday, youth man was buried in this community. A 60-year-old. died by gunshots, murdered just sometime after midnight, a couple days ago, weeks ago, wherever you are, the timing. He was among the 6 persons that were shot up at the back of the village. A 60-year-old. I say he involved in anything. I say he know about anything. But I'm saying that he died as a result of the lawlessness which is permitted to be pervasive in this society under the PPP government. The proliferation of guns in this society under the PPP government. Not another mother, not another parent, not another sibling, not another community must be made to cry for a teenager gunned down, even as an innocent passerby. As in the 60-year-old again, young lady was shot in La Penitentiary or wherever by a stray bullet. The lives of our youth must be protected. And do you see the PPP protecting your lives as young people? I certainly haven't seen it. For all the decades I lived under the PPP government, I've not seen them protect the lives of young people. I've seen them protect the killers of young people. I've seen them protect murderers in the Black Clothes and in the Death Squad and in the Phantom Squad. I've seen them protect murderers in the communities who call themselves godfathers and grandfathers and baby fathers and uncles and daddy at the villages and all of that. I've seen them protect them. I've seen them empower and embolden them to create havoc in communities. In their own self-interest, but they are allowed to do it because they also function as enablers of the PPP disrespect and abuse of the citizens. Because the PPP keeps communities and keeps citizens in line by the mere threat of unleashing these dogs upon them, the dogs of war. Just yesterday, a tape resurfaced from Barry Ramsey saying, I will slap her just in the front of it. I will get my women to strip and slap her, or slap and strip her. Just a threat like that is intended to cause women not to challenge the status quo. I see another clip resurfaced the other day, or that might be a new one from Barry Max. With the alleged rapist Damla saying, if you go after the PPP, we're going to come after you. We know all your recordings. We know all who you talk to. We know where you live. We know this. We know that. And if you come after, we're going to come after you. And I'm going to ensure that we come after you and you're destroyed. Just threats like that. Are used to oppress people and keep them in line. And allow other people to take advantage on them in the name of being a PPP bad dog. And because me is a PPP bad dog, I could do what I want in my own name too. Is that the society y'all want to live in, young people? Is that the society you want to live in? If you don't want to live in this society, then your vote should not be going to PPP. It should not be going to the Blue Party. Because the Blue Party is just as guilty of creating this kind of environment as the PPP is. They were hands in gloves. A lot of you ain't know nothing about the death squads. You know about the Phantom Squad. You know about the Black Clothes Police. You know about the killer squads and so on. You know about the Rajakan squad and all of that. You might not know about it. But let old heads like me tell you about it. Because if financing were coming from people like those who are in the Blue Party, those who had the Blue Party, those who had the PPP, like I said, they were hands in gloves. You think it's Rajakan alone the financing the disappearance of people in this country? Was a conglomerate, was a coalition of big businesses who are benefiting from the PPP in office. Look around you and you can name them. You know them. I'm sure you're going to hear about them, or if you look at them, you could assess the relationship. The other night we were over at Annandale having that meeting in Market Road by the Church Street there, and I saw a young lady dressed in the most let me say tantalizing. Challenge, she skirt the long, but he slid the tail up by she navel or navel. And she they wearing a midriff. Two of them guys down the road. Oh God, they got meeting. Yo, your parties are cheap. Your party cheap, or your parties are cheap. And I'm sorting my mind. What's the point she's trying to make? Your party cheap. And then it dawned on me. Because the other day I coming out of Pleasance, I was in Pleasance. We were doing outreach here, house, knocking door and thing, and I was with the vehicle playing audio and so on and so forth. And as I'm coming out, a vehicle is going in with a sound system on the back of it, booming down the place, as we like to say, advertising a PPP meeting. Advertising a PPP meeting. And then I saw a similar phenomenon, if I can call it that, for the Blue Party. They're advertising their meetings, just advertising, their meetings. With sound system, boom boxes at the back of vehicles. Because that's what the young African Guyanese like. The young black people like boom boxes. That's what they are attracted to. And any political party that could bring about a boombox, advertise a meeting, or host a meeting with a boombox is not cheap. But at the end of the day, do they have the policies that will impact your life and change it the way it ought to be? Do they really have your interests at heart? Do they want to see you stop being labeled a scrape? When being labeled a scrape is beneficial to them, you think they really want to see you come out of the scrape society? Or the classification as a scrape? You think they really want you out of that? When being a scrape is what is beneficial to them? A street corner meeting that we, over the years, all the decades, are accustomed to doing with loud hailers, horn and mic. The new attraction is a boombox. 4 bass, 2 bass, boom, 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 boom. Why not bend over? Let me talk to me. Needs them. This guy needs screen chin. And is that your value, young people? being lewd with lawlessness and smut, is that the value of your vote? This is how you intend for people to take your vote from you? So because the party keeping the meeting there the other night, ain't got no big boom box stereo set as we call them, and I'm booming down the neighborhood. They're cheap. Did you take a minute to listen to the message so that you could compare it with one of the others that giving you boom box? Because all they're giving you is circus and entertainment, making you clong yourself out. But it's good enough for you. Stop, catch your breath, look around, think about what you really want your future to be. Youth man, young girl, think about living in a society where, first and foremost, you don't have to leave school without matriculating, number one. Number two, you don't have to be knocking around the place even if you matriculate because you can't find employment. Number three, you leave school and you're about the place hopeless because they don't cater for you. That's not the society should want to live in. Should want to live in a society where there are opportunities even before you leave school, where there are linkages. When I was at secondary school, despite things were bad, as we like to say, by the time you were ready to leave school at fifth form, you already had a place, first and foremost, where you could go and do work, study. And in most cases, because you were matriculating, when that period of work study is finished and you get your CXC results, many of us got the opportunity to stay right there and work. Ask many of your parents and foreparents how they got the job they got. I went for work study, and my education really served me and they kept me on. Nowadays, there aren't many agencies who are willing to take anybody for work study because the school system is so shut that they ain't preparing you for none. The lines are opened. I did say I'm going to open it early. I don't know if this is early enough. But sometimes, as I said, this guy belcher. This guy really speak what is on my mind. And this morning, I hope I have done it in so simple terms that, you know, the young people could understand what I'm talking about. When y'all look into the casket, was it a casket yesterday, and y'all see a youth man like yourself, young lady, young man, murdered at the age of 16 by guns. Did you stop and shudder to think that this could have been me? Because I live in a society that is a wild, wild west, where people know or feel that they could just walk into a community, drive into a community, murder people, and nothing will come out of it? Did you look at your compatriot and think this could have been avoided if we had a better governance system, more law and order? Do you think you have the power to change it? I think you do. And there's the value of your vote. The value could change a lot of things that you disagree with. So y'all don't try to win. Y'all gonna end up with wind pain and bellyache. Caller, you're live. You're on.
Yeah. Good morning. Can I speak? Yeah. Now, you mentioned something about this noise and so. You know, there's a saying, at least I learned in it's from a student's companion. Empty vessels make the most noise. Now, as we all know, if you want to you got things to tell people or to do, you don't make a loud noise of it. They said the noise of the market is not the sales of the market. And the young people, I hope that they can take time to revisit. But Kadaki and others, we got to study the level of education that these young people get. Many of them got an education where it was lack of general reasoning, because in school law, like me, I know if you did it, but Minister Jordan and our age group had a thing the name general reasoning, where you learn to reason and according to some of the young people suss out things. But when you ain't got the ability, anything that is being thrown at you, you would accept it. Now moving along. Yesterday, the PPP, the sharing the PPP paraphernalia because it's supposed to got a meeting. And they went into the home of this by Jacobs to serve them the paraphernalia. And because he resisted and chased them out of his yard, he was a guest at the police station. Now, I think that is wrong, because if you go to share your paraphernalia and a person said that they don't want it, you should not engage them and then get the police to be involved. And there again, we see where Guyana is a PPP police state, that if you resist the PPP, they seek their dogs on you in the form of the police. And I think this is something that should be looked into, because we do not know how far the PPP will go to antagonize the race, the people in the country, if they try to resist their attempt to accept their rule. And lastly, I hope that at the elections, people are not allowed to take out pictures of who they have casted the ballots for, because I think that the law at GCOM is that the ballot is supposed to be made a private thing. Then lastly, there's a place on the West Coast that is issuing a lot of ID cards for election. That is what's going on the West Coast to Tushin side. So I don't know if that could be looked into and dealt with condemnedly. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call.
Morning, Baraki. Good morning, viewers. Good morning, all right, children, Guyanese. This is the person that the police were trying to kick down my door on Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. Yeah, this is a message I sent out this morning to the guy in the police force. I really mean the police that has come and act unprofessionally. You understand me? I know my grandchild, my couple of years old grandchild was crying at the point of time when it was coming down my door, kicking down my door, trying to kick down my door. You understand me? And I want the guy in the police to know, you see all those rope cops that have interrogating people like people go home. I want to know if you have got a heart. If you have a heart. You understand me? If you have a heart to do your own people. And the thing is here, Indian officers are coming with them, and Indian officers can doing nothing. The black police officers, them is the one that's causing this problem in Guyana. Them are the head there, sending them to do the dirty work to their own people. And I call on all Guyanese, if you want stability to come back to this country called Guyana, this great and beloved country called Guyana, what every country today are looking up to. If you want the greatness of this country to return back, we have to vote the people out of government. If the PPP sending all these instructions, giving up all these instructions, and the brother told me that they get instructions. There was instructions by people up there to come at my home. And on social media, I got them all the big 42 from Latin with a red, hot Rihanna blood jersey. And no police want to arrest the guy. No police want to arrest the guy. So you see what people doing to the opponents? That is really bad thing you're doing to the people. And this guy Jordan coming to my home. What cross my bridge to come and give me a red, bloody, black people blood jersey. You see, these people doing things to Mohammed people and the opposition people. And we do it back to them in a professional way. They're trying to make it look so ugly. But God is in charge. Our God is in charge of everything that's going on in Guyana. And this ABC country, that in this country, that they may say nothing, they see all the things that this installed government are doing to especially black people and people that do not support them. We need to have records. I have a video when I was kicking on my door, when I was knocking on my door. I have video, but the video is so long, it's not loading. But I can get it loaded. I can delete something off of my phone and get it loaded. I'm going to share it on social media. I'm going to share it. Because this is what police do it. It's not wrong, not fair. And the economy is be ignorant. I'm glad you come in my yard and see our ignorant person. Our ignorant person got the place. And I show he was telling me ignorant. He must live under some calabash tree or something. Because he appears to know he can tell that this guy is a poor police guy. Very poor. You come into my home, you see my surrounding, and you telling me ignorant. This is what ignorant people just got. This is what ignorant people just got. You understand me? This is you come in my home and tell me ignorant. Come in my yard and buy me bag, tell me ignorant. When I speak out to my rights. Anyhow, here's the Alamo Presley.
Thank you. Oh boy, I guess that voice note had a lot of echo because my microphone was left on. I am sorry. I hope you heard and understood what the caller was saying, what the voice note was saying. Listen, I got some outlook in this life that sometimes I'm afraid to even speak my mind. Because if somebody is going to come to my place to offer me or coerce me into accepting their party paraphernalia and I refuse, and you'll land me in the police station, bye oh bye. It's best I ensure they get reason for go to the police station. You know? Some people just take this thing too far. Political contestations, yes. But you ain't gonna be my enemy, or you don't have to make me your enemy and I don't have to make you my enemy. You don't have to disrespect me and I disrespect you. You have to understand that, listen, if I don't want you in my yard, I don't want you in my yard. Get off my blasted bridge. It's me bridge. I built it. Move from the gate is move from the gate. And so if you understand that and you can respect that, then we don't have to get a confrontation. So much so for you to go to the police station to make an allegation whether true or false. But if you will make false allegations against me, then I gotta ensure that, you know, double jeopardy perhaps. I gotta get charged for something that I do. Yeah. You know, at least in Buxton, I think we got an understanding. I'm first Buxtonian. Then I'm APNU or WPA. And so I don't have to make my fellow residents my enemies. If they want to make me the enemy, it's all well and good by me. I could live without them. But I won't choose to make them my enemies. And if I know that discussing politics with them going to cause us to be enemies, then I walk my way and get out my way. But I pray the day y'all don't come to me with that stupidness. Because I like fast vehicles. Let us move from 0 to 100 quick. Call it live. You're on.
Good morning, all listeners and viewers. Good morning. Good morning to you, Mr. Amsterdam. Today, I want to hear my voice to let all the listeners and all the supporters of APNU and all of Guyana know the only party that we need to put our X for is the APNU. I don't care about no newcome party, no split party, no color party. Only party we need to vote for is the APNU. The party with the plan, the party who has the people at heart. Anyone who choose or try to split the APNU vote is against us. It's not for us. They don't have our interests at heart. Because I cannot see how we make all those people, if black people vote, make all of these people who have all these split party and splinters party. And they run around, act like they don't understand the sense of urgency or the sense of now. I say again this morning, only APNU, all votes for APNU. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time.
Mr. Kadaki, good morning. To my African brothers and sisters, Guyanese, let me say this to them. And I leave it right there because I will watch them. Let me say this. They got to come out of their slavish mentality and try to live a life whereby they can earn their own stuff and people see them as important and that they know to spend money and stop living this dirty life waiting for handouts. Because, for instance, with a Win party, with a running behind, Muhammad's money is not your money. And all Muhammad wants is to get somewhere with your vote, and all you're going to suck salt. Many of you are going to punish so bad that you are going to make it. Life will be serious. With serious consequences for y'all. Don't stand up, wake up and smell the car. Attacking to y'all. Because it is ignorant of you people to be walking around with all the knowledge y'all got, supporting a party, a criminal entity that teaches you people how to use guns and all these kind of things. I am saying to you people, wake up. Wake up from your slumber, people. Muhammad money is not your money. Muhammad is a Muhammad. He don't like your black glasses. So let me let you know. Right? He wants to use you black people to get what he needs to get. And then he's going to take you black people. Yes. So all you have with all your selfish gain, we're running for think. You're making sense? All you making no sense? All you ain't making no sense. When he get what he has to get, y'all will become slaves under the Mohammeds. Yes. What can he do for you people? Way back, he never had no time with y'all. None. He used to help the PPP to suppress you black fools out there, running around like y'all ain't got no shame. Suppress y'all with money. You tell me what make he wake up to suddenly and want to help all your black people. Y'all like handouts. It's time all you stop with the handouts and learn to spend all your own money. Live a life. Stop this nonsense. Stop the nonsense. It's not going to do better for y'all. I leaving this right here because I will see. Bye.
Thank you for that voice note. It is now 15 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. You're still tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am still your host, Kiraki Amsterdam. Calling on, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm Mr. Amsterdam. You know, concerning this 2025 election, you know, as I said in the meeting last night, we have to palm them out. APNU is the only party that have our interests at heart. Let me show an illustration with the PPP and the Win Party presidential candidate. You know, the whole world see that they have a WhatsApp because they fall out, sharing that concerning this Lamborghini, one saying that the other one know that the Lambo was coming in, one asking the next one to make the original invoice available for the public to see. But what a lot of these Guyanese see running up and down is that the two presidential candidates exposed their dirty laundry, that they was trying to thief the GRA money or to evade the taxes, by extension taking money out of the small man pocket, because at the end of the day that money is supposed to come to the country and benefit the small man on the street. So it's our tax money they're thieving. That is evidence with the two presidential candidates. So you're talking about corruption. Now, I see the Win Party do a press conference the other day, and I want to mention about them too much, because them and thing. And he claiming that how much money the PPP having corruption and what they're going to do. So wait, is now PPP corrupt? All the time before they get a sanction, when they used to be hop and ham, they never know that the PPP was corrupt, and all that corrupt money could have go to benefit Guyanese people. Is now them know that? Guyanese, open your eyes. Because the only problem the party found it is because Jack Judah take with themselves after the sanction. And you got to understand Jack Judah's position, because Jack Judah didn't want to go down with him. So he decided.
Hello, hi, good morning. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. It is 25 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour on Tuesday, the 29th day of July in the year 2025. Some people think I'm late. I'm not late. I'm simply deliberate. I see there's a healthy conversation still going on based on the information presented on yesterday's program. And when that is happening, you know, it really makes sense to me to allow it to go at least up to a certain time. Let me start by saying, how have you been? How was it yesterday? How was it last night? How have you been keeping? What were you able to achieve yesterday that brought you closer to achieving those smart goals which you set? How exuberant are you? How enthusiastic are you? Do you believe that there is hope? You can't give up on hope, you know. So you best believe that there is hope. Are you working diligently? Have you joined the team? I suggested to you weeks ago that each and every citizen, each and every one of you must become an ambassador for the APNU. And so you go there, you get the relevant information as we have been providing through these programs. Definitely, I can speak for myself. You get information, lots of information from this program. As I say, take your information, become an ambassador, and talk to your neighbor, talk to your children, talk to people in your community, talk to people far that you have contact with, and encourage them to become an ambassador too, so that resoundingly across this country, the APNU can get the kind of support that it needs to put the PPP to pasture. I'm reminding you, please, that is what you have to do. Each of you have to become an ambassador. This is not about Aubrey Norton, leader of the coalition. This is not about David Hines, leader of the coalition. This is not about Ganesh Maipal and Joretta Finance, Joretta being prime ministerial candidate for the coalition. This is about all of us, every single one of us citizens of this country, especially if you feel oppressed, especially if you feel that the PPP has been taking the eyes and past you all the time. become an ambassador, get the word out there that the only viable option right now to remove the PPP from office is the APNU. There's no if and but about that. It is the APNU, and it should remain the APNU. Ask yourself this question. And I keep encouraging you to ask yourself this question. Do you really think that at its first rodeo, let me call it that, the Blue Party can remove the PPP from government? Yesterday, Oniselius told us for all the 60 plus years he has been in politics, he has never seen a political party move from 0 to 51%. And so resoundingly, the answer for me is no. I've been saying all the time it is no. There's no way the Blue Party can come from 0 and win the next elections in this country. I see Sonny Mahadio saying, imagine the Blue Party beating APNU, you want test PPP. There's no evidence, and in realism, the Blue Party is not beating the APNU. I don't see that happening. As some people say, under the dead body. I don't see that happening. That is propaganda. That is what you would like people to believe. The reality is that the PPP is floundering. The PPP right now is desperate. The PPP is doing all manner of things to try to, quote unquote, curry favor and buy black people votes. And if you're so confident of winning an election because of popular support, then you're not going to be doing that kind of stuff. You're not going to be doing that kind of stuff. So let's keep that in mind. We are a few days to the elections. To maybe about 34 days. Right? We got 2 days remaining in this July month. And then we got 31 in August. That's 33 days. And elections is on the 34th day. So we got roughly 34 days to, I would say 33 days to an election. If you haven't decided by now who you're going to vote for, and can defend that decision, I want to say you're behind. You're below the curve. By now, like I said, you should be campaigning heavily as an ambassador for the coalition government. Don't tell me that you don't like the PPP in government and you're going to vote for the Blue Party or any other party other than the APNU. Because if you were to vote for any other party other than the APNU, you simply are voting to keep the PPP in government. Last night, I benefited from the insights of a discourse on TikTok. And there were lots of insights. Thank you, Sexy Onika. That's the name of the host. And there were lots of others. Blessings and Zion Bong, Zion, I can't remember all the names. But all those of you who are on that panel, if any of you is on the program this morning, welcome. And thank you for the insights. Because one of the misunderstandings that people seem to have in this society is that after the election, political parties can come together and take the seat of government. Can't happen. Will not happen. The law doesn't permit it. And let me explain that. There are several ways by which you can get the government. Well, I would say there's a singular way by which you can get the government. The party with the largest block of votes singularly is the party that wins the executive, the government. The party that gets the single largest block of vote wins the government. Everybody else becomes and opposition to that party in the National Assembly, in the Parliament. Right? Good. Now, if everybody were to go to the elections as individuals, individual parties, then that is straightforward. The party with the largest single block of vote will get the government. But there are other, what we call construct, like a join the list. Right? A join the list. What is a join the list? A join the list is an agreement between two or more political parties that once the votes are counted, they will, what's the word I'm looking for? Put their votes together. There's another word I want to use. I think it's a C word. Right? But it's not collate. But they will basically pull their votes together. So let's say party A, B, and C are in the joint list. When the votes are finished counting, party A gets 4, party B gets 6, and party C gets 2. And they pull that together. They will get 12 votes. If 12 votes are enough to get you a seat, then the join the list will get a seat. The join the list will get a seat. But the party that gets to occupy that seat is the one that got the most votes counted individually. And so the party that gets 6 out of the 12 is going to get that seat. At least that is what Court de Silva represented the law to mean, and nobody has challenged it. It's not a seat that can be shared around. You take piece and you take piece and you take piece. It is the party with the largest number of votes in that join the list that gets to occupy that seat. That's a join the list. Likewise, if that join the list gets the majority of seats in the National Assembly, it still cannot form the government if none of those parties in the join the list got the majority of the votes as a singular block. Let me explain this. We got party A. We don't say A, B, and C in a join the list. We got party D, which contested by itself. A, B, C, and D got 12 votes. But party D by itself got 8 votes. Because party D by itself got 8 votes compared to party B in the joint list that got 6 votes, party D is going to form that government. The joint list is going to be a majority in the parliament, and so you end up with what you call a minority government. Now, in other democracies, or in real democracies, when there is a minority government, what you usually have happening is negotiation taking place. Is that the party that won the government will reach across the aisle, as we like to say, and negotiate with parties who are sitting in parliament with votes, opposition votes. And what they do basically, horse trading. This is how the horse trading might go. Listen, for your support in the National Assembly, we will give you 2 ministerial positions. It is allowed. Those 2 ministerial positions, mind you, have to be technocratic positions because those 2 persons will not come from the list of the winning party. So they got to be technocrat positions. And so when the ruling party brings up a motion, for example, in parliament, because of their arrangement, then it is expected that the opposition parties or the opposition party will throw their vote behind them so that they can get a majority of votes. In some instances, it's not done like that. Some people say, listen, no, we want to join your government. But we will allow you to be the government. But when you come to parliament, we will examine what you're bringing to parliament. And we will negotiate based on what comes to parliament. So if, for example, you come to parliament with your budget and your budget has 5% for public servants, and the opposition believes that public servants should get 15%, then they say to you, you need to increase the public servants' wages and salaries to 15%, or we are not going to vote to pass your budget. We are going to vote your budget down. And if you don't get your budget passed, obviously you can't do anything as a government. You will fall. And negotiations can take place around that issue. And so what you might find happening, all right, we can give public servants 50, we can give them 12. Because negotiation took place. And the opposition say, all right, to move you from 5 to 12 is an accomplishment by itself. We're going to live with 12. Good. But there is only one singular route to the presidency, and that is by a party winning the largest block of vote singularly. So those of you who tell yourselves, listen, Mohammed can't beat the PPP outright, but he could win enough votes and then join those votes with somebody else in the parliament, and they will get the government. No, that's a total misunderstanding. It doesn't happen like that. The only way to put the PPP out of office is to ensure some political party other than the PPP gets the largest block of vote. And the only political party from where I sit capable of getting the largest block of vote in this current election is the APNU. There's nobody who can convince me otherwise. Nobody can convince me otherwise. And I'm therefore saying to you, if you're going to put your votes anywhere else except with the coalition, you don't want to see the backs of the PPP. You don't want to see the backs of the PPP. Because every vote that you put somewhere other than the coalition, the possibility is you're reducing the number of votes that the coalition will get. And the PPP, from history perhaps, has been able to maintain its base for quite a while. Whether it's by bullyism, whether it's by coercion, the PPP has kept Indo-Guyanese, quote-unquote, Indo-Guyanese in line every time. I'm not saying there are not a few defectors who will go quietly and vote for a party other than the PPP. But the reality is, from where I sit, the PPP has been able to keep Indo-Guyanese voting for it. Come election, go election. And on the contrary, y'all ain't gonna like this statement, but it's black people who seem to want to be jumping from bow to stern. Jumping from the coalition to jump to PPP, to jump to the Mohammeds, to jump to forward Ghana or backward Ghana, upside down Ghana, to jump to this party and jump to that party. African Guyanese exhibit the least loyalty to their own cause. The people talking about Mohammed or the Blue Party beating APNU and so, the majority of them, if you were to judge from nomination day, are young black people. And I keep asking the question, why do you believe that somebody who doesn't look like you, number one, and somebody who has been contributing to your demise for decades is suddenly going to wake up and be the answer to your problems? Why you suddenly believe that they're going to be the answer to your problem? The answer to your problems lies with the APNU. And if you can't see that, come the morning of the 2nd of September, I will watch you all with sore eyes because the PPP going to be right there, triumphant, thinking about the next way to oppress your black ass. Strong words, but words that must be spoken. It's as real as that. On the panel last night, somebody asked me, Mr. Afsar, why it is the APNU is focusing its campaign on African Guyanese or predominantly African Guyanese community. I don't see them doing a lot of meetings in Indo-Guyanese communities, for example. And that's not right because there's supposed to be a government for everybody. I'm sitting here and I give you this assurance. The APNU will be a government for all citizens. The APNU will be a government for every citizen. When you become the government, you're supposed to be a national government. When you're campaigning, you're supposed to look to where your support is likely to come from and put all of your efforts there. And right now, if you look at the construct of things in this country, it is obvious that the APNU has to do work among the Afro-Guyanese community to ensure that it consolidates the largest block of vote that it can get, which is in the African Guyanese community. It has to put in the work to consolidate that vote to ensure that it has a chance of getting more votes than the PPP. That's a charity begins at home. And I'm saying, concentrate your efforts, your resources on where you are sure you're going to get the greatest returns for your investment of time and labor and everything else. And I'm saying the place to do that is among the African Guyanese community because that is where you expect it to get your largest block of votes. That doesn't mean that you don't want your message to get to the Indo-Guyanese community. How do you get your message to the Indo-Guyanese community? There's something that they call whistle-stop meetings. There are going to be whistle-stop meetings in the Indo-Guyanese community. There are press conferences, maybe sometimes 2-3 times a week. The APNU policies are discussed in press conferences. Indo-Guyanese can listen to those press conferences and they will get the necessary information. The newscast carries information coming out of those press conferences. So the Indo-Guyanese do get information. Information which they can assess for themselves and determine whether or not they are willing to place their votes with the APNU, expecting a better quality of life for every citizen of this country. But for some people to say that you're not going into Indian Guyanese community and campaign, and that is not right because that is an indication that you will not be a government for all the people. That is totally wrong. Because let me tell you something, and it has been tried and tested. Even Mohammed perhaps might have had that experience. The APNU going into certain Indo-Guyanese communities will be speaking to the wind. Not because the Indo-Guyanese don't want to hear the APNU message, but because the PPP is a terrorist organization. And they get their goons to look and see all those who come out to the APNU meeting, and then they torment them. And since you don't want to live in torment, you ain't going to come out to the meeting. You might sit on your patio, you might sit on your veranda, you might sit in your bedroom, you might stand up right behind the door and pull in the curtains at the window to hear the APNU message. But for the greater part, you and veteran on no street corner to listen to any APNU meeting. Because the fact is, when you are seen out there and it is interpreted that you're supporting the APNU, the PPP terrorists will terrorize you for the rest of your life, especially if they lose the election. Worse yet too, if they win the election. Let me give you an example of what I talk about. In the 2015-2020 election, I was insistent. I said, listen, we must be able to go to any community and host a meeting so that people understand what we have to offer. And we kept a meeting at Annandale North. I insisted that we must go to Annandale North. Why did I insist we must go to Annandale North? I attended the Annandale Secondary School for a period of time, so I have, I would say, some Indian schoolmates, Indo-Guyanese schoolmates, along with others. I taught at the Annandale Secondary School for a while, and so I have some Indo-Guyanese students, among others. I function mainly on the sideline dam, a stone's throw away from Annandale, so I go over there, I do business, I have people I interact with, and so on and so forth. So I think I can carry a message to the people of Annandale. On the podium or on the platform, I basically made a point to them. I said, I'm coming to you basically like one of your own. I spent time at Annandale Secondary as a student. I spent time at Annandale Secondary as a teacher. I've walked through this community. I have friends and relations in this community. I function or I live on the sideline dam, as I would say. We know each other. So as a matter of fact, let me tell you this. My carpenter is Logo. Logo is an Indo-Guyanese living a street away from me at Annandale. And when I came here, if I have work to do, I call Logo because he's into construction. And I get Logo and his team, that is for the greater part, Indo-Guyanese. Sometimes you might find an Afro-Guyanese there. And they have done work for me and they continue over the years to do work for me. And I said that at the campaign, at the meeting. Within hours of that meeting completing, the PPP goons were at Logo's throat. But Logo's a different Indo-Guyanese. Because he can be as aggressive as the rest of them. And he tells some of them we not go chop up. And what you not go do. So let nobody tell themselves they can do anything because he gets a right to have friends. And he doesn't see a problem with me going on the podium to say, well, he is my carpenter. And we have a good relationship. And he calls them out and tell them to racist and so on and so forth. And that is just an example of what the PPP does to you. But let me give you another example of how Indo-Guyanese might be willing to support you, but they don't want to deal with this terrorism on the part of the PPP. My welder was an Indo-Guyanese from Annandale. I got anything to welder, call him. You do my work, he gets paid, we had a good relationship and so on. I mean, talking this story, they're going to be able to identify him, I guess. Sad to say, I'm going to talk his story anyhow. Because I want you to get this understanding of what the PPP representing. How Indo-Guyanese are intimidated by the PPP. The cash grant came and they paid the cash grant. And this particular individual didn't have an ID card. Didn't have an ID card. And I'm driving home from the city today and I got a phone call. I answered the call. They always call me sir. Sir, in recognition of the fact that I taught many of them and many of the children that Annandale said. Sir, man, this cash grant to pay, man, and I get no I get ID card and they tell me I got to apply for them online if I want to get them quick. I say, okay, so what want me to do? Man, I want to know if you can help me apply for them and things. I say, but what I'm doing, Anil? Because Anil Nandlal is from Annandale. I say, what I'm doing, Anil? Why didn't call Anil? The man that dog by. All of you go together, you can't get a man that will do none for you. But you think that individual gonna stand by the roadside and say such a thing about the big, powerful Anil Nandla or even the PPP? No. Because you would be afraid the next morning you might find it dead or badly beaten. You think you could have found an Indo-Guyanese youth in any of the Indo-Guyanese community to talk to Mohammed and ridicule Jack Dio and the PPP the way that young man ridiculed the coalition and Granger at the back of Buxton when Mohammed came to Buxton a few months ago? No, you would have think twice. You would have think twice because they would have terrorized you. But in Buxton, that Buxtonian youth, that African Guyanese youth, Afro-Guyanese youth, feels confident and safe enough to, as we say, run his mouth and run it loosely and know he could go in bed and sleep and nobody ain't got time with him. Nobody has time to harm him. Nobody has time to confront him. Nobody ain't got no time to intimidate him. And that is the difference in the nature of what we're dealing with. Yes, Ron Lindsay asked Brian Max. Brian Max was among them and he talking up on the BT with baseball bat. And he went quiet because he knows. As a matter of fact, a video was released the other day with short stuff threatening to destroy your life if you come after the PPP. And there's no idle threat. That is the people. Right? That long answer. That long answer. The whole discussion there is in response to the person who say, why y'all ain't going to Indo-Guyanese communities and campaign? It gives the impression that you're not going to be a government for all the people. We will be a government for all the people. Aubrey Norton has given the assurances. Let me give you some assurances that Aubrey Norton has given, and I stand by them. Not one Gaisuko worker will be dismissed. Not one 40-day worker will be dismissed. I see somebody talking here about Norton saying that he will shut down the GSL. You know what is GSL? What this idiot is talking about? The Guyanese Super League. Cricket. 2020 cricket. The Guyanese Super League. If Aubrey Norton says he will shut down the Guyanese Super League, I stand by Aubrey Norton on that. And if he didn't say it, I am saying that the Guyanese Super League should be shut down. Whose money is financing the Guyanese Super League? Whose money is financing the Guyanese Super League? If the money that finances the Guyanese Super League doesn't come from the coffers of the state, if it's a private arrangement, a private investment and everything, by all means, let it go. Let it do what it has to do. Private sector got a role to play in society. But if the Guyanese Super League is funded by Guyanese money from the Consolidated Fund, from the Lotto Fund, or wherever in the government the money is coming from, it should be shut down because that money can go towards the improvement of the lives of the citizens of this country, either through health, either through education, either through more social services, either more infrastructure development. That money can contribute to a better quality of life for Guyanese citizens. And from where I sit, my little understanding suggests that the money that funds the Guyanese Super League comes out of the coffers of this country and is a way of siphoning off, is a way of stealing the nation's resources. It is also a way perhaps of money laundering. And so yes, like I said, if it's not a private enterprise, I would shut it down without the blink of an eye and divert that money to do other things that will benefit the citizens of this country in a more positive way. Himaj Sankar these empty-headed comments that you come and make, and you and Sahadi and y'all come and make, y'all don't contribute anything to these discourses. Running Guyana into the ground is a speciality of the PPP. Despite being the fastest growing, richest economy in the world, perhaps right now, besides having that title, maybe 1% of the Guyanese people are feeling the impact of the oil we pump. The rest are living in poverty or near to poverty. The society is a lawless one. Social services are near non-existent. The healthcare sector, despite all the investments in the healthcare sector, or I should say in healthcare assets, in terms of buildings, is in tatters. Because the fancy buildings, the modern buildings, whatever you want to call them, do not have the requisite personnel to deliver services to the people. The coalition, the Granger coalition, let me make the differentiation, in government was able to ensure that for the first time in the history of this country, several Amerindian communities had access to piped water. Wells were dug in their communities. They had piped water. On the coastland, for the first time perhaps, or second time perhaps, because I want to believe it happened previously, but the first time in the near past, homeowners were able to get water piped to their first floor without the use of an electrical pump, or without the help of an electrical pump. They had access to water in many instances 24/7. The quality of the water had improved exponentially. Electricity supply had become a constant. There was a marked reduction in power outages. All of those things were achieved under a coalition government led by Granger. 5 years approximately after the Granger government, Guyanese still can expect daily blackouts. Guyanese still are complaining about the poor quality of water through their pipelines. Guyanese still cannot get water to their first floors without the help of a pump. Guyanese are dying for simple things as access to oxygen in a modern hospital. Under the Granger administration, the coalition administration, every health center across this country was, I wouldn't say optimally staffed, but adequately staffed. Medication was available. Support services was available. And they say, we like to say, the coalition didn't have oil money. But it is the reality. All of those things were achieved without access to oil money, the kind of largesse that the PPP now controls. And so, I can't say I shudder to think. I'm tremendously enthusiastic about what a new coalition government will be able to do for the Guyanese people with that kind of resource, assuming that when the PPP leaves office, something will be left behind. And that is the reality. And if Satchel Wu and whoever else cannot accept that as a basic fact, they ain't got no right on these discourses, because they got to be empty-headed. And I don't like talking to empty-headed people. If you can challenge me with your intellect. Don't try to baffle me with bullshit. Norton has assured that within the first 100 days of taking government, public servants can look forward to an increase in their wages and salaries not exceeding 35%. Not exceeding 35%. Norton has assured that after taking government, persons who are attending the University of Guyana, I can't say all the educational institutions because I can't remember him saying that, but he says if you're a University of Guyana student, you're going to get a stipend, a monthly stipend, totaling $600,000 a year, more than $500,000 a year. A student grant, a student stipend, whatever you call it, to help you to go through the university smoothly. $600,000 a year. He's assured that students, the primary school, will get, that figure is beating me. But I want to believe it's about 1.2, no, I don't think it's 1.2, perhaps about $1.2 million a year. There are assurances out there from the Norton campaign, from the Norton team, from the government in waiting, that Guyanese are not going to lose any of the benefits that they currently are getting from the PPP by way of bribe. And note I say by way of bribe, because hear me, all of the benefits that the PPP claims that they're giving to Guyanese were only announced a month or two ago because it's an electoral season. Because it is an electoral season. And there's no guarantee that the PPP will continue to deliver any of those quote-unquote benefits which they started delivering a month or two ago after the election. There's no guarantee. The $100,000 cash grant, for example, was a one-off payment. The Norton administration is saying that once in government, cash grant is going to be a thing, a policy of the government, backed by law. You ain't got to wait to see when Norton gonna wake up and feel like I could get them a cash grant as a vote buying scheme. It is going to be provided for in the policies of the coalition. The WPA has been championing for several years now direct cash transfer of approximately $5,000 per household. You think we are going to go into government with the APNU and don't continue to fight for that to be a reality? Some teachers are concerned by hearsay. Sometimes you have to listen to hearsay through the grapevine. Teachers are concerned that the PPP has started to introduce into the school smart classrooms, smart boards, and so on, making their life easier. They've started to give to the schools a grant, a classroom grant, so teachers don't have to dig too deep again in their pockets to provide teaching aids and so on for their students in classrooms. Teachers are concerned about whether or not the coalition will be able to upkeep that. Well, let me give you news. Let me say this to you. If the PPP can do it with all of the corruption that goes on in this country under the PPP, the coalition can do it. Because part of the mantra of the coalition is to reduce corruption and wastage. And so they will have more of that resource to put in the right direction. So once it was started by the PPP, the coalition can and will continue it with justification. Right? That's number one. Number two, don't be fooled and believe that it is the PPP that started smart classrooms. The PPP did not start smart classrooms in this country. Smart classrooms were started by the coalition government. I remember interacting with the first smart board at NSERD when it was launched under the coalition. And this is what they did at that time. They twinned interior schools with coastland schools. Can you remember that? And the smart classrooms were intended to be used in such a way to ensure that those students in the interior got the same quality of instruction and delivery of education that those on the coastlands were getting. It was a coalition that did tremendous work in the interior region to establish what I would call the internet links, connectivity, and the importance of the connectivity was to ensure that they could have accessed the smart classrooms, among other things. Internet access, so that they could have gotten the same kind of exposure like people on the coastland have been getting. So don't let the PPP come and tell you, we are doing great for this country. We have introduced smart classrooms. Smart classrooms were there since the coalition time, and it's a freaking failure of the PPP that more schools do not have smart classrooms as of today, because they went into office and they met it. All they had to do was to expand on that policy. So the teachers were concerned about, oh God, they might take away classroom grant. No, sweethearts. If they got anything black man pride itself on, is the education. Black man pride itself on education. And the coalition government, without beyond the shadow of a doubt, is going to invest in education. The WPA and Professor David Hines always talk about there being a crisis in education. And we are going to declare an emergency in education so that we can take the necessary steps to fix it. So teachers are going to be treated the way they should be treated, like kings and queens. They're going to get their just due. Vincent Jordan is telling us this again. The Because We Care grant was a one-off grant introduced in 2014 to distract from the sagging fortunes of the administration that had prorogued Parliament and had refused to hold local government elections. But of course, why not cry wolf? Why not cry wolf? So don't let us, I would say, concern ourselves unnecessarily about what the Norton administration can take away. Focus on what the Norton administration is saying they're going to do and give. Look at the policies. You're going to see the manifesto eventually. But these, I like to give you snippets coming out of the manifesto. And I just always say, I hope the Norton, Team Norton and the APNU don't get pissed at me for quote unquote letting cat out of bag and some. But I believe these are things that people need to know because it's close to the election. I think I say 34 days. And a lot of people are out there talking bull. Sometimes not because they want to talk bull, but they have not had access to information. And they don't know better. And I'm tremendously happy again. I'm saying that I joined that discourse last night. I'm a 10 o'clock man. 10 o'clock I just be in my bed. In case you didn't know, you know now. I'm not a rumor. But last night I left that meeting from the backlist. And I came and I joined that discourse on TikTok. Because first somebody called me and I was at the backlist and somebody called me out of the blue. Somebody I don't even know, I don't have as a contact, and they say, Mr. Amsterdam, we have a panel on TikTok and we would like if Dr. Hines or Mr. Norton can join us to discuss certain issues. And my response to them, they say, well, can you join? Say, well, I'm at a meeting, I can join after. Ian Adams, you need to check your device if you don't have a sound. Right? As I came in and I braved it, and I sat with those folks on that panel until about 12:15 last night or this morning. And they bombarded me left, right, center, upside down, all around with questions and answers and their opinions and so on. And I'm happy that I could have engaged with them. I wasn't what should I say, contiguous group, wasn't a homogeneous group. It wasn't a group of APNU supporters. It was a mixed bag. We even had the blue in there. It was blue, it was red, it was green, it was yellow, it was purple. It was a good representation of Ghana and the political scenario. We didn't curse one another. We engaged each other. I'm saying again, like I said to them, and I'm saying it again. If you want to see the backs of the PPP, the only place you got a right to put your vote is to the coalition. Because I've explained the scenarios of how you get the government. Then I know after the fact coming together to get no government. You can have an after the fact situation to control the parliament. Is that what you want to do? You want to control the parliament? I want to do more than control the parliament. I want to control the government. I also want to have a majority in the parliament so that those forward-thinking policies that we have will not be humbugged by the PPP and their cohorts. So again, if you want a government that will serve your purpose, serve your interests, and not be threatened by another no confidence motion out of gluttony and selfishness, you have to ensure you vote resoundingly for the APNU so the majority of victory is big enough to protect them from a no confidence motion. 1 seat majority can't work. 2, 3, 4, 5 seats majority will give your government freedom to function for your benefit. Shut the PPP out. It should be a total shout out for them. The lines are opened. It's 26 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. While I wait for your calls, there's a question I think I need to answer. The question was asked, how do you get a speaker, I think? How do you get a speaker? Let me take this call and then we can come back. Call you on, good morning.
Yes, can you hear me, sir, before I speak up? Yes. Now, persons are saying that they want to get rid of the PPP. So, a few days ago, I talked about Mohammed's. I believe, and I will prove with information, that the Mohammed Party is ill-conceived and should be disqualified from the elections. I will show why, and I hope you can assist me with that, Mr. Amsterdam. I sent you some information. If you could briefly put it up when I ask you to, if you can, with your permission. Now I'm going to use the Magnitsky's Act. The Magnitsky's Act is attached to Executive Order 13818. The Magnitsky's Act is not only for the United States, it's for the entire world. It also includes the European Union. It also pertains to Jimmy Carter's observation team. It also pertains to the South American states that Bruce Golding would be heading up. So this is a message for the European Union, GCOM, CARICOM Secretariat, all observation teams, as well as all party leadership and GCOM. Under the Magnitsky's Act, it was intended to
Corey, you are muted.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Let me repeat. The Magnitsky's Act was used to facilitate the sanctions against May Thomas and the Mohammed Enterprises. So May Thomas and the government are implicated properly in the Magnitsky's Act for her working together with the Mohammeds to corrupt the processes of government. It disqualifies May Thomas from participating in any type of transactions. It also disqualifies Mohammed himself, his father, and the entities from qualifying. Now, my question is, when was the Wind Party incorporated? Whenever the Wind Party was incorporated, the Wind Party is now part and parcel, ensnared. And I want GCOM and Cloud Singh to hear me well. Mohammed's party is ensnared in the Magnitsky's Act. The Magnitsky's Act has the scope and reach globally, not just in the United States, globally. And the European Union is party to the Magnitsky's Act, as well as CARICOM, as well as South American states. So there's no wiggling out, because the Magnitsky's Act says that it's there to stop corrupt democratic practices and entities that will interfere and influence, unduly influence such democratic processes. That is the Mohammed's party. That includes Team Mohammed. That includes Wind Party, because the principal who incorporated the Wind Party is Mohammed. And the intent, he is using that same corrupt scheme and intent that he was sanctioned for to circumvent the sanctions. And Magnitsky's Act talks about that. And the sanctions were particularly placed to curtail Mohammed's scheme. So he has diverted his scheme under the guise of the Wind Party. Well, the Magnitsky's Act takes all of that into consideration. My problem is that GCOM doesn't realize that we know that the Magnitsky's Act takes such circumvention into consideration. There is no way of wiggling out of it. That is why Madam Ambassador said, Madam Ambassador, United States Ambassador said that in any eventuality, Mohammed's involvement will run the risk of investments, because the Magnitsky's Act and the executive order and the sanctions contemplates all of these things. All of these things. Now, Mr. Amsterdam, you as an executive member of the WPA should pay keen attention. If you could put up for the people on the screen, the part that talks about the sanctions. I highlighted that part because people are going to think, well, Coffee is just saying this stuff. Well, this is stuff that is signatory to several countries, particularly the United States. And also the PPP are in a relationship transactionally with the United States. Therefore, the PPP, Guyana government has to be compliant with the Magnitsky's Act. Either they are or they aren't. And I think that they are, and that's why Irfan Ali said all that he said in this press conference when he talked about the details of Mohammed's sanctions. That also means that government agencies such as GCOM proper has to be in full compliance with the Magnitsky's Act. Because the Magnitsky's Act, again, I reiterate, one of the components of it is to protect democratic processes, electoral processes, which Mohammed has now woven himself into, and therefore he is using his finances, which the sanctions are seeking to prevent him using his financial influence to inordinately influence the process, which we are seeing happening as we speak in Guyana. He is influencing the process. That's why Doggy and that girl had to have that showdown at Coffee Square. That's one example of evidence. There are several persons saying that he is using his financial influence to circumvent the very same things that the sanctions were intended to curtail. Hence, he's circumventing the sanctions and the Magnitsky's Act by way of the party win. So GCOM needs to sit up straight, and that's why they have a judge there. So we're saying, Mr. Amsterdam, it's not if and. These are the facts. And party executives need to complain about this. The party should be disqualified. I think the Demerara Bank knows this. And this is why you see former APNU MP Singh. Can you hear me, Mr. Amsterdam? Just a check. Can you hear me? Former MP Singh and others who have recently joined the Win Party are being asked to remove their monies, fiduciary transactions from the Demerara Bank. That is because the banks realize that now MP Singh, etc., they are now in a fiduciary or any type of relationship with the Muhammad, with the entity. It's the entity or the principal. He is the principal. He facilitates his intent through the entity, which is the Win Party, to circumvent. So they're telling them, Ms. Singh, you have just entered the crosshairs of circumventing, and we've got to ask you to remove your funds. That goes to May Thomas. That goes to all of those political entity parties that are in alignment with Muhammad. I want GCOM to know, because we don't want Clara Singh to claim, and I want Vincent Alexander to pay attention, because I know he's an intellectual and a quick study. We don't want this wiggling away. We don't want you to say you weren't told. I'm being redundant as often as need to be and pellucid. There isn't any ambiguity. Win Party is in violation of one, the Magnitsky's Act because of its international scope. Two, the objectives outlined within the Magnitsky's Act speaks to political interference, corruption, and the manipulating of a democratic process and an economic process. 3, he is using his finances, as we have seen with persons complaining that they've been paid. So that is already established, that he is manipulating the process. And again, I will be redundant. It was intended to stop that type of influence because it corrupts absolutely. So, Mr. Amsterdam, I think I could continue with this again. Persons will try to say, well, what is he talking about? Well, what I'm saying is that the Magnitsky's Act and the sanctions against Muhammad are under sanctions under Executive Order 13818. And the Magnitsky's Act is tied to that executive order. So there's no separating the two. And therefore, the sanctions on May Thomas and Team Muhammad and the Muhammad Enterprises are part and parcel of those sanctions. GCOM need to disqualify him. Once again, Mr. Amsterdam, thank you for talking to the people. If we're going to continue to say we're campaigning, then we need to campaign according to the law. Because it talks about those violating the rule of law in the Magnitsky's Act. Thank you, Mr. Amsterdam. We'll continue on this matter.
Thank you for that call. Carry on, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you and all my brothers and sisters in Guyana. First thing first, we will get there, we must get there. But it will cost sacrifice and demand so we could get there. So we could say, after the 4th of September, I was glad when Flash Garden said, let us rally behind Mr. Adi Martin because he has a milk to give us, not sugar water. Let me give out two credits to 2 people in my country, Ghana, the land of many water. I want to give credit that belong to my God. Teach me that. To encourage people for continue to do the right thing and say the right thing and do the right thing. The first one go to Mr. Vincent Jordan. Mr. Vincent Jordan, don't sue me, but you perform Thursday. My God, you make me to remember your God speaking to you. My God, my God. You make me remember that you could perform like that. I believe you still have some more milk in the breeze. You know, in the long time, I grew up on cold milk and breast milk. In Georgia time, majority black parents can't even give their children cold milk and breast milk. They gotta give them sugar water. But I'm gonna come when the storm is calm, I do not gonna come. To the next comment is to Miss Robin and follow all your message. And I glad you're reminding black people. This is what it's about. Reminding black people what the PDP done to us. I want to introduce to us. Getting treated to us. None of us will talk about that. Something I'm all it's showing and I'm glad reminding people, remember Jesus. I will show them the trees. And you don't want to go back to that again. When she always said that my Bible teaches me people have run, maybe run. I don't believe she has garden. But yesterday, when I was checking my news on Facebook, I see John Thomas mentioned and said, people, they not kill their parents, they get more than this land. Because he said, that other people are you going for the journey of government take a land, cover take a land. We now is the time to talk about what the politicians have for us. Thank God and God. This our candidate said she will deliver $100,000 to citizens. Because God is that money to 60 and the price of no flash and go for 100,000. These are the things that we talk now. If money talk and bless work, I will not talk about deliver Chinese other poverty. You have to come out and talk about money and what you're going to do. Now let's come to sanction. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your call. So back to that question about the speaker. As far as I know, the speaker is nominated, nominated by the government. The speaker is the government's prerogative. The government gets to choose the speaker. The constitution says that the deputy speaker comes from the opposition. Now let's examine that for a little bit, if you will allow me. In the last parliament, the government chose Manzoor Nadir as the speaker. I don't think the speaker could have been a member of a list. When St. John is on, he can correct me. I don't think the law allows for the speaker to be a member of the list. The speaker has to be somebody who has not been on a, or who is not on one of the contesting political parties' list as a candidate, right? And so you choose somebody who is not on your list. And in this instance, Manzoor Nadir was chosen. Of course, we know Manzoor Nadir has been a former minister of the PPP government and all of that. So basically, they chose one of their own to be Speaker of the National Assembly. When it came to selection of the the deputy speaker, it is that person is supposed to come from the opposition benches. And despite the fact that Schuman was in the opposition benches as a result of that joinder getting one seat in the parliament, one would agree that Schuman got to parliament on the least number of seats, least number of votes. And so naturally, the opposition bench should have been allowed to select the speaker, which I think the deputy speaker, which if they had respected that process, would have been somebody other than Schuman, somebody from the APNU, because the APNU had a larger block of vote than Schuman would have had. But in its whole, what should I say, quest to control every single thing in this country, in a dictatorial manner while claiming that Ghana is a democracy, the PPP concocted everything and they selected Schuman and voted for Schuman to be the deputy speaker. Because remember, they had a majority in the House anyhow. And so if all of them voted for Schuman as the opposition representative, so it was. And so we ended up with Schuman as deputy speaker. And then that changed after he left and Asha Kisun became the deputy speaker. Certainly, in my mind, not through democratic means. And even that we have to watch, because like I said, if you want a government that is going to be able to work their policies without the threat of a no confidence motion and without the threat of betrayal and so on, you have to ensure that you give that government the kind of majority that can allow it to function. And let me start playing this hop, skip, and jump thing. Good. I think we might have voice notes. Let me check and see if there are any. Like I said, Mr. Jordan can feel free to, because I know he's on the chat. Intervene if he sees it as necessary.
Greeting, Brother Gadaki. My brothers and sisters, let you remember that the coalition is the way. The coalition is the way. We might feel disgruntled with certain happenings and them kind of thing, but let me take into consideration, brothers and sisters, we might not get everything We the want on the coalition and them kind of thing, but we got to put your pot on the fire. You could put your head on the block for sure that we brothers and we young brothers and we fathers and them kind of thing was home safe. They didn't get killed out. Prosecution against no Indian brothers and sisters, Amerindian brothers and sisters, Afro-Guyanese brothers and sisters. We were safe with crime and them thing is concerned. We were safe with corruption was concerned. All wasn't well. All wasn't well. So I'm begging and asking that let me make the comparison, let me choose, let me think before we make a decision on putting the X. Don't let me put it because of just loyalty and all kind of thing. Because I could say this, and we all know the PPP back in power for 5 more years is disaster. I'm telling you, it's disaster. A lot is going to expose with them in there in another 5 years. Another thing about the Kadaki, you got to stop making the comparisons between the Indian brothers and sisters and the Afro-Guyanese brothers and sisters who supporters of the two main parties. Out of your mouth, because you said just now that on this program I was listening to the earlier clip, you claim that the supporters of the coalition, meaning black people mostly, we are always there jumping all over the place. And with the PPP always maintain the base. But you're forgetting this you talk just now about the Kadaki. Why these people are getting the base? Because manipulation, they can't be seen, things so much could happen to them. So we got to understand, we got to think before we say none we are perfect, bro. So we got to think before we unleash and we critique, when we start critiquing certain things. You understand? Them don't got certain choice and it's sad. It's sad for no because the leaders of the PPP got them on a leash. You talk on all the areas where the PPPs look out for if they go in and saying anything, especially when it comes to the coalition. So we can't go in there, them making them comparison. This is why the PPP they're strong because they these people just choose to be loyal and choose to represent and continue for support. Many of them ain't got no choice. Many of them ain't got no choice. And there's now going on the coalition side. Lead me to say this is so that we leaders on the coalition side, we got to do more. Got to do more. Got to do more. I love all of them. We got to do some more. Blessed love and thank you so much, brother.
Thank you for that voice note. Sometimes I feel this Scarlett just want to come around me funny. Right? Listen. I'll give me a minute. Hey. Sideline. Yeah. I'm saying sometimes I feel this Scarlett just want to come around me funny. However, the PPP manages to keep its base intact or close to towing the line. They do it. I ain't say whether they got choice or they got choice not. And I am repeating it. For the greater part, it is us Afro-Guyanese who jump all over. Cuss out we own, criticize we own. Maybe it's a cultural norm. And the time has come for us to recognize that sometimes we need to adjust that attitude. Even in family building and upbringing, look around you. By the time our African children reach a certain age, they're ready to rebel and they're ready to move on, and according to them, going to build life by themselves. And they end up eating the bread that the devil need. And then they come back like the prodigal son. In the Indo-Guyanese community, they married and they live under the same bottom house with their mama and daddy. And then wife become a part of the home. Many argue that she becomes like the maid. Call it control freakism, call it what you want. It is protecting their interest. When you talk about choice just now, the thing that came to mind is, I've heard old people say before, you choose till you choose shit. And sometimes we exercise our freedom to choose too liberally. They know Guyanese might have choice, but they don't get to exercise it liberally because they have to stop and think, what gonna happen if we make this choice by the PPP gonna come at we? Is it perhaps time for African Guyanese to start having to make those decisions or have those second thoughts? You answer the question. I don't have the answer. I ask the question. Everybody generally believes that they know what is best for them. And I think individually we should perhaps know what is best for us. But age teaches experience, I think they say, or age no experience, but experience teaches wisdom. And so sometimes we have to sit at the feet of the elders, those who have walked the path before, and learn from them, take lessons from them, so that we don't make the same mistakes that they made. The time has come for African Guyanese to recognize that this exercise of freedom of choice got serious consequences. And I don't think we'll be making good choices, especially when it comes to our vote. For me, vote that could change the trajectory of things in my country could only value $5,000 and a box of food with a red jersey. When if I exercise that vote and I exercise it conscientiously, I could upturn the whole status quo in this country and ensure that me and my next generations are in a better position than we are right now. So if despite we got choice, like I said earlier, we got rights and we got responsibilities. A lot of us are not looking at the responsibility part of it. You ask the average Afro-Guyanese youth why they're supporting WIN, for example, and tell you, I mentioned that yesterday, a big man, a middle-aged man, gonna tell me everybody deserve a chance. And don't worry, the boss man say you'll know soon and very shortly. There's any justification for gambling with your children's future? You think I take pride sitting here in the mornings and telling black people that they're upon stupidness? No. Because they're part of me. They're a reflection of me. But I got to tell them, because it's going to help them to come to a realization that they're upon stupidness. Enough of them, they're upon stupidness. All the heads who are supposed to be guiding young people along the right path to make right decisions. Gamble and squander their life that they know they're on the hustling path, just like young people, they're hustling. And so they're hustling, the young people forget to hustle. How liberating is that? Vice note, if I find one. Tell you how getting up for me 9 o'clock though. I can't stay too long. It's 4 minutes to 9. I got things to do. I should say other things to do because this is one of the things that I usually have to do. Or I've chosen to do for the benefit of all. But I also have to take my personal needs and responsibility.
Show the length and breadth of this country. This message is for the Guyana Police Force and the PPP. I'm the person that is on social media concerning the PPP guy, Darren Jordan, from the Namso was crossing my bridge bringing a red Asian blood and the rest of African people blood in this country, Jersey. You understand me? This is the message to the police force. They got some rope caps in the Guyana police force, and the rope caps come from the African people them. And the way how the police have come at my home on Sunday morning, it was it was unprofessionally. You understand me? The way all the acts, all the kick in my door. I have a video, but it taking long for load. But I'm going to delete something off of my phone and I'm going to share it on social media. You understand me? These black officers, what has come around but talk to you in a arrogant manner. You understand me? I want y'all make a list out of all of them because we got to get rid of them out of this Guyana police force because they're not making our country look good. This great country called Guyana, they're not making us look good at all. They corrupt from top to bottom. You understand me? I don't know if they don't train them properly or they don't understand the training or they don't really do the training that they're supposed to be looking professional or whatsoever. But they are very arrogant, especially the black ones them. You know, 4 of them come to my house. 4 of them. 2 Indian and a Douglas guy from the Namsel, a young, cool police guy. I know him from since he's smart. I know his parents, very good. Many parents got along all the time. Very professional, cool youth man. Just joined the police force. You understand me? And I wonder why our young people going into that Guyana police force. Because it's just cool as they go. When you see when things get in their head, they just get just like the rest of them. And I call on all parents, stop sending your children into the Guyana police force at this point in time. There is no good place for the young people in Guyana police force. Guyana police force are corrupt from the head right down to the bottom. Understand me? Right down to the bottom. Now they come at my home. Damn in my door, I have my little grandchild, couple days old, crying, traumatized my family. Until my family tell me must go along. I said, no, I cannot go. Okay, look at the video, I cannot go. My lawyer give me instruction not to leave. Understand me? Understand me? And this thing what the people are doing, especially to the opponents, is very bad. They show that they're incompetent or they're losing supporters. They may know they're losing supporters when they've done this thing to people. Come on, man. Y'all say y'all win this election. Why y'all coming around cheering a red blood jersey in African people village? Wait, it's so stupid. Y'all think black people stupid? Y'all think all of us so stupid? What so much more does y'all cause in this country to African people? And y'all bringing the jersey and trying to cross the bridge. Oh, this guy so backward. You crossing a man bridge where you know you and a man don't get along. I know a man is a dyad opposition. Since I'm 18 years old, I did wrong politics. And I will never switch and go to PPP to see what they're doing to our country. And especially our people in our country, our poor class of people. You understand me? And I call on all writing in Guyanese. The time is here. Let us rally around Mr. Norton. Mr. Norton is a well competent person. And the people that they are around him. Let me rally around this man and get this country back to stability. Guyana gone, Guyana far, gone. And why y'all know though? I see this ambassador, these people were in the country, and this observer. That's why I had to tell one of them the other day. I had to tell them the other day at Melanie. I said, hope y'all come to make it right this time. Because y'all is the cause for what is going on in Guyana today. Hope y'all come to make it right this time. You understand me? So these people are quiet, the people do nothing. I hope they're not in the pocket. They're not in the pocket of this install government because the money that these people got. They only left for bribe God. But that's the only man that can bribe. And the time is coming. The time is coming. And you see that fellow up playing there with a big red bloody jersey who had a big 32 quarters in yard trying to chop people. Where did they go to those people? What are they doing to mommy supporters them? And nobody can get the rest. What is really going on with this observer that they have in this country? What is really going on with them? We cannot trust these people. We cannot trust people. We're calling on all the opposition parties them. Get to these ambassadors them. All the press conference about these ambassadors them and this observe that they're in this country that not saying nothing towards what's going on. Because what's going on today? When we make close election, will be going to happen. You understand me? So Guyanese are why we wake up. We wake up, Guyana. Guyana wake up. Enough is enough. The people are so corrupt, they can't even hide corruption. You see the ban corruption in parliament? More the ban it is more the corruption showing. You understand me? So please, Guyanese, Let us hold hands together. This country will be a better place. We need stability to come back in the Guyana police force and the army and other entity in this country, other organization. We need to bring it back to make Guyana a better place than ever before under this installed government. Dios, you have a blessed day. And thanks for all the supporters that support me in the NAMSTEL towards when these ropes caps, some of them. Now let me rope caps. One of them, very, very arrogant, and he's a corporal. He's a lance corporal. Brown skin fellow, very arrogant, telling me ignorant in my own yard and in my own back. In front of my own back door, telling me ignorant. The ignorant, they're just printing in your face and around you of where you live in. There's where the ignorance there. You must, when you go, you must look around and see the ignorance what you have around you. And then tell people that they're ignorant. Anyhow, Dios, have a blessed day.
Thank you for that voice note. It is now 3 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. I did say to you, I will have to leave at the 9 o'clock hour. I trust that everybody is satisfied with this morning's program. I know some people might have sent voice notes that haven't been played, and some people made attempts to call, and the calls didn't get answered. But the reality is, we can't always have it how we want it. Right? For example, I see somebody send me a voice note flush at 9 o'clock. How you think they're going to get 3 of us there got to get up at 9 o'clock? Right? I'm sorry for those voice notes that weren't played. I don't think I really got any that weren't played, except this one that came at 9 o'clock. I hope I've been able to answer a lot of your questions. I hope I've been able to allay much of your fears. I'm saying again, repeatedly, if you want to see the PPP out of government, your vote will only make sense going in one direction, and that is to the APNU. The APNU stands the greatest chance of removing the PPP from government if you were to put your votes behind them. No other political party stands that chance. You all have a good day. Continue, like I said, each of you must be an ambassador for the APNU. Share the message. Talk with your neighbor, talk with your family members, and get them to come out. We need 90+% turnout, especially in the APNU strongholds, if we can get the PPP far away from power. Y'all have a good day. Much love. See you tomorrow for another program. Don't forget that on the 31st of July, we have the Black is Beautiful Cultural Evening on the Buxton Line Top. It's going to be a packed program like every year. And there are going to be some surprises also, because we are in an election year. Come out in your numbers. Come out in your numbers. Come out in your numbers. Be educated and entertained at the same time. Have a good one. Goodbye. Today we are at Victoria, right? WPA is spearheading that meeting at Victoria today, and Aubrey Norton is on the platform also. So those who are wondering, I see somebody say, stronger together, we are together. But that doesn't mean that we have to necessarily lose our identity. We are together. Aubrey Norton is on that platform today with those of us from the WPA in Victoria. Right? See y'all then. Goodbye.